Good morning, students. This is the time for computer class, and I am your computer teacher. So, students, we are continuing the lesson, the cyber safety. So, in the first video of the lesson, cyber safety, we discussed about the introduction of internet, cyber threat, what is cyber threat, about the computer virus, what is a computer virus, what are the characteristics of computer virus like fast infection, slow infection, stealth, polymorphism, etc. Next we discussed about the types of virus like macrovirus, resident virus, boot sector virus, TSR file virus, non-TSR, overwriting virus, multipartite virus, polymorphic virus, direct action virus, browser hijacker. Next, we discussed how the virus is spread in the system. And the next topic that we discussed in the previous video was the damage done by viruses, like the trivial damage, the minor damage, the moderate damage, the severe damage, the major damage, and the unlimited damage. So now in this video, the first topic that we are going to discuss is virus protection and antivirus software. So we have discussed about the types of viruses. So now how to get safe from the virus, or how to prevent virus from entering into our system. There are many solutions for this. So the few solutions are legislation, awareness among the users, use of antivirus software, use of virtual device driver, use of scanners, etc. So the first option that is available for us is legislation. The first option for us is legislation. Legislation. So what is legislation? We can say that the user should use only legal software to prevent the system from viruses. Most of the time we found that the people use pirated software so that it causes loss and their work is also done. So in such cases there is mostly a chance of entering the virus into our system. So the government punishes the people who write virus program. The government should take action against the people for writing the types of program which harms the other systems or steals their data. So if the government takes such steps, the number of virus programmers will get reduced. Next is awareness among the users. Awareness among users. So the users should be aware to know that they should acquire proper software. The users should check the floppy disk, the pen drive, if they are using the other CDs. If the antivirus software find a virus, the PC department must be informed that the virus is present in a particular file or device, and the user should take proper action to protect from the virus. The next is use of antivirus software and scanner. The third step that we should take is use of antivirus software and scanner. Use of antivirus software and scanner. So what is antivirus software? We can say the antivirus is also a program which is mostly written by the programmer to catch the viruses or to find the viruses and also to remove them. So the antivirus software is a solution for many viruses. There are different types of antivirus software like SmartDog, Avast and Norton. Next we have scanner. What is scanner? We can say it is a program that knows how to find a virus. The scanner should be frequently updated, or it should be monthly updated, so that the new versions of scanner can be able to catch the virus much easily. Next we have checksummer. We can say checksummer, checksummer. So the exe files or the executable files of the computer should not be changed. So the checksummers are the software that is used to detect the change. If any change is found on the exe files, with the report should be immediately made to the user. These software do not detect viruses, and thus updation is not required. So the checksummers are generally we can say a type of programs which keeps information about whether the exe files on the computers are changed or not. Most of the time we should find that the exe files should not be changed except when we are updating the software. If changes is made, the detection should be the changes that are made, it should be detected. So these were some of the measures that we should use. The first is the legislation. Legislation means only the legal software should be used. We should keep ourselves away from the pirated software. Awareness among the user is must. It means that the antivirus software should be used. Whenever we use floppy disk, pen drive, we should be sure that it does not contain any virus. Third is use of antivirus software and scanner. Antivirus software is mostly used to catch the virus. Scanner program also know how to find a virus. And the last is the checksummer. So the exe files or the executable files should not be changed except when we are updating the softwares. So these were some of the steps. Now we come to the topic cyber safety. Cyber safety. So the safe and the responsible use of information and communication technology is referred to as cyber safety. It means that when we are whatever data or information that is stored in the system is safe, and then whenever we make transaction with any of the systems, the data safely reaches there. It is known as cyber safety. So what are the threats to cyber safety? Threats. What are the possible threats for cyber safety? So whenever we are working on the internet, there is always a risk that our data can be damaged or data can be stolen. So one should be very careful and should follow the protocols when we are working on the internet. So some of the cyber threats that one can witness online is, first is malware. The first threat that we are face is malware. Malware. So the malware is made up of two words, malicious and software. It is made up of two words, malicious and software. So from here the word mal and from here the word ware. So it becomes malware. So malicious software. It refers to program or file that is harmful to a computer. Malware means the file or the program that is harmful to a computer. The malicious program can perform variety of jobs, like it can delete the important data. The important data can be hijacked, the data can be stolen, etc. Or it can keep monitoring your activities without your permissions. So these are some of the jobs that the malware perform. So the malware includes viruses, worms, Trojan horse and spyware. Let us discuss each one of these one by one. The first is virus. The first malware is virus. We have already discussed about virus. So what is virus? We can say virus is a type of program that normally abrupts the normal working of computers. It damages the data or it steals the data. It slows the processors. It increases the memory and so on. Next malware that we are going to discuss is worms. Worms. What is worm? we can say that it is a malicious program that keeps duplicating itself or that keeps repeating itself. It creates multiple copies of itself and fills the disk space. As a result, when the memory is occupied, the processor gets slow. So some of the example of worms are Michelangelo and MS Blast. Next malware that we have is Trojan horse. Trojan horse. So now what is Trojan horse? We can say that it is a program that masks the existence of a virus or malware, and by making it appear friendly. So the job of the Trojan horse is mostly to steal the information from the computer. The Trojan horse can appear as a game or mobile applications. So backdoor and exploit, some of are examples of Trojan horse. So what is Trojan horse? When you are asked, you can say it is a program or it is a type of a malware that appears friendly, but it steals the information from the computer. So the examples of Trojan horse are backdoor and exploit. Next we have spyware. All these are malware, remember. Next we have spyware. Spyware. So what is spyware? We can say it is a type of malware that is mostly used to collect the information and data on the users and also to keep observing their activities on the computer without knowledge. Such programs collect the personal information like the password, the credit card informations, etc. It slows down the speed. The spyware is many times referred to as tracking software. Remember, the spyware is also referred to as tracking software. Tracking software. So these are some of the malwares. So what is malware? We can say it is a program that is harmful to a computer. So malwares are virus, worms, Trojan horse, spyware. Virus is a program that destroys the data or the informations. Worms is a program that keeps replicating itself. It occupies the memory, slows down the processor. Trojan horse, it is a malware that appears friendly but it steals the information from the system. And next, spyware. It is a type of malware program that collects the data and information of the users like their password or say bank ID, etc. It also keeps observing the activities of the users without its knowledge. So it can many times change the setting of the computer also. So this is spyware. So these were some of the malwares. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss is hacking. Hacking. So till now students, we have discussed about the virus prevention and the antivirus software, how to prevent the virus by the help of legislation, awareness among the user, use of antivirus software and scanner checksum. Next, we have discussed about the cyber safety. What is cyber safety? What are the threats to cyber safety like malware? What is malware? The different types of malware like virus, worms, Trojan horse, spyware. Now we are going to discuss about hacking. What is in hacking? Hacking means to have a control of the other computer without his permission and to use the network of the computer for other benefits. So hacking means to have access or to have a control of the user's computer. Why do we want the control? So that we can enter the security of the computer network and can perform some damaging work. So the act of getting into somebody's computer system without his permission to do some illegal work, all this is known as hacking. Passwords are generally cracked and we enter the system. The hacking is become widespread nowadays. The persons who gain access to a computer system or network without authorization is called hacker. Hacker means the person who enters into the network or into the system of some other persons without his knowledge is known as hackers. So the hackers generally use C language program or assembly language program to break the computer network or password and to enter into the other systems. So this is hacking. The hacking is mostly done by the hackers. Many of the countries generally employ the hackers for their own benefit. Many big organizations generally have hackers of their own so that they can steal the important confidential information of their rival organizations. Next, we have leakage. Leakage. So what does leakage means? It refers to unauthorized copying of important data from the hard disk to pen drive. Leakage results that suppose whenever we can say that there is an employee in an office and whenever he leaves the office, he generally carries the important data into his pen drive and the security persons are not able to detect him. So such types of work is known as leakage. Next, we have phishing. Next, we have phishing. So what is phishing? We can say it refers to the attempt of using the personal information like login, password, important credit card details, etc. Why do we do phishing? The main aim is to trick the email recipient by making him believe that the email that he received is from one of his friends or colleagues and then ask him to fill the important information of him or hers and of him or her and then we use that information for our own use. This is known as phishing. So phishing refers to the attempt of accessing the personal information of users. So the main purpose for phishing is that to obtain the information and then to use it of their own or to blackmail him or to use the wrongly of a personal details. Next, we have password cracking. Password cracking. So what is password cracking? So password cracking means that it refers to the user computer through a remote computer by cracking the password. So password cracking means that the user computer through a remote computer by cracking the password. We crack the password. We crack the password of some other persons and then enter his systems. The next is spoofing. What is spoofing? We can say that it is the fraud practice of obtaining the important information of the user by hacking their device. So the spoofing is done by following way: by email spoofing or by IP spoofing. So spoofing means a type of practice in which the important information of the user is gathered from his device. The first is the email spoofing. What is email spoofing? This type of method is used by hackers by sending the email message by the wrong address. The mails are sent with the intention of obtaining the personal information like bank account details, contact details, etc. Many of the times it is found that a wrong email is received to us, like suppose we have won say a lottery, and in order to get the particular amount we have to fill the data in which our personal record, bank detail, password, etc. are asked. Next, we have IP spoofing. IP spoofing means internet protocol. It is generally created by hackers to hide the true address of a system. Suppose if someone finds that a wrong or say a type of spoofing is done and which system has done this spoofing. So in such cases the IP spoofing is proves to be very beneficial, because the true address of the sender is hidden and it is we are not able to find that from which system the such type of work has been done. So the spoofing is generally of two types. The first is the email spoofing. Email spoofing. And the second is the IP spoofing. IP spoofing. The IP spoofing hides the true address of the sender, and the email spoofing is generally sent a false email message where our important information is required. Our important information is asked to fill the detail. Next we have data diddling. Data diddling. So what is data diddling? It is mostly done by the staff. It refers to the unauthorized modification of the data. Means that the important data, their modification has been done, so that the one get confused that which one is the original data or which one is the duplicate data, or some important data has been changed and no one would be able to know that what the original data was. So this is known as data diddling. Next we have trapdoors. Trapdoors. So what is trapdoors? The trapdoor refers to the special routine of a program which allow the programmer to monitor the storage area of memory, or we can say the technical detail of a system, in order to check whether system is performing correctly or not. So trapdoor refers to the that means a special type of program is created which allows the programmer to know about the internal memory area, that what is the memory address, or we can also find the technical detail about a system, that what are the technical details, that how much RAM is present over there, what is the capacity of hard disk, which type of processor is used. Such type of information is generally collected. So it allows the user to access the password and other important informations. Next topic that we have is safety measures to be adopted while using social networking sites. So these were some of the terms of the cyber safety, like threats, hacking, leakage, phishing, password cracking, spoofing, data diddling, and trapdoors. Now the next topic that we are going to discuss is safety measures to be adopted while using social networking sites. Safety measures to be adopted while using social networking sites. While using social networking sites. So what are the safety measures that one should use when they are working at the social networking sites? So social networking is mostly used by the people of age group to interact with their friends, family and others. So the advantage that we have in the social networking is number one, connectivity. Number one advantage that we have is connectivity. So connectivity means that the people stay connected with their friends, family members which are situated at long distance. Next we have brand building and advertising. The second advantage that we have is brand building and advertising. And Advertising, it means that the social media is also used to promote the business product of the service, which and it also cost very low, or we can say of no cost. So our advertisement of our product can be made without any cost. The next that we have is education. So we can say the people across the globe are benefited as the social networking acts as an education, provides education also. We can share our information or resources on various sites. We can get information on various topics, on various subjects. We can have the audio or video about any of the topics of our subjects. With the help of video conferencing, we can also have a talk with our teacher online, or we can also listen to their videos, etc. So these were some of the advantages of the social networking sites. So student, this was all about the cyber safety in this video. So we will be taking some of the remaining topics in the next video. If you have any of the doubts regarding the topic that I taught you, you can ask me in the Zmeet classes. Thank you.